you guys, with access to the internet, are forced to deal with way more creepy dudes like Scott Tyree than any kids have ever had to deal with. When I was a kid, you know, we maybe had the one creepy dude that drove around in a van, you know, in the neighborhood, and I had to worry about that one creepy dude. My parents were like, hey, that dude, stay away from him. But you guys have to realize that everybody's creepy dudes, all those creepy dudes in the neighborhoods, they're now on the internet. And all they do on the internet is sit in their basement and try to find kids to do bad things to. And Scott Tyree found Alicia. You don't want to be the kid that the next Scott Tyree, and there are plenty of them, not just, you know, where Alicia was, but there are plenty of them in New Mexico as well. And believe me, I'm out there every day trying to find them. You don't want to be the person that Scott Tyree finds next, all right? Because, I mean, he is, we see monsters all the time in the movies. Scott Tyree is a real-life monster. What he did to that girl was absolutely horrible, but unfortunately, it's continuing to happen over and over again because kids are irresponsible with what they do on the internet. And it's not always as bad as what happened to Alicia. It's not always nearly that bad, but it's always bad if you're the victim. All right, and we normally kind of go back and forth here, but we're stuck on.
Yeah, we're stuck on one mic. Okay, I'm going to tell you a very stupid story. It's the stupid things that only you and me remember, baby. It's the stupid things that only you and me remember, baby. It's the stupid things that only you and me remember, baby. It's the stupid things that only you and me remember, baby. It's so, I got a 13-year-old, no, I'm sorry, he's 15 now. I got a 15-year-old kid. My kid is not a bad kid, but when he was 13, he was dumber than a bag of hammers. Not even joking. So I busted him looking at porn on the net like twice. And so I took away his internet privileges. The homeboy cannot walk in and touch the computer unless he has dad first. So that same year, somebody decided to give my son an iPhone for Christmas. And I talked to this family member and was like, look, you can't do that because I've already busted in looking at porn on the net twice. And they were like, no, it's okay. It'll be all right. No. So either way, I didn't talk to that family member for another year because in my house, you're not allowed to give away internet access without going through mommy and daddy first. Of course, once we get back from Denver, homeboy walks in and he's like, hey, yo, dad, let me get the Wi-Fi code for the house. And I was like, hey, yo, son, why don't you shut up and go do the dishes, huh? How about that? So I'm trying to deprive my son of internet access, but this is hard to do because you can get internet access, you can get Wi-Fi access at McDonald's, at Hastings, at the public library, at the bus stop, at your friend's house. So I haven't really shielded him from anything, really, because he has this device, right? Not long after this, he gets in trouble for talking back to his mother. And how do you crush a teenager's soul? You take their phone. And I was like, give it up, bro. I don't care, dog. Give it up. Now, knowing my son and his thing with the net and porn, I had just done an interview with the top, he's the head of the Internet Crimes Against Children Unit here in the state of New Mexico, Anthony Mays. And I'd done an interview with him, and during this interview, he told me about 18 different sites that boys routinely go to post pictures of their junk. Yeah. Oh, by the way, who do you think posts more pictures online? Boys or girls? Whatever. It's boys. Boys between 12 and 20 years old are the largest group of people who post illicit pictures of themselves online. Apparently, dudes are like, if I show you my junk, then you're gonna like me more. You know, guys, by the way, girls don't actually want to see that. They don't. I know, you think they do because you watch a lot of porn. We're gonna get into that in a second. So either way, take his phone. Me and Mom we're driving to the store, and I'm like, honey, let me show you why this boy does not get to have a phone. Pop open the history. 2 of those websites were on his phone. So needless to say, he lost his phone that day and never got it back. Of course, over Christmas last year, he was like, he's like all sad, and I was like, what's wrong, son? Oh, Dad, I think I'm mature enough now and shown that I can be trusted so I can have a phone. I was like, Negro, let's get something straight. First off, you ain't got no job, so you ain't getting a phone. Second, you ain't got no job, so you don't get a phone. Because I'm aware of what kind of technology it is. That technology used to fit inside a room this big. Now, it fits inside that. And that is a video camera, a camera, and a texting and internet device, and it's like Star Trek in your hand. When I was you guys' age, I was watching Star Trek and see them on their little transcoder things, I'd be like, man, it'd be really cool if we could do that. And now it's like, I can do that and take a picture of myself and send it to you. So of course, he's not getting one of those as long as he lives at home. My wife is like, well, maybe he needs one. I'm like, no, the thing is that our generation, it pretty much worked like this. Son, you need to be home at 9 o'clock. If you're not home at 9 o'clock, you're gonna be grounded for a month. Son, when you get to school, you need to go straight to your class. You don't need to text me to tell me that you got to school safely. Because I'm of the opinion that if you're supposed to go to school, you're supposed to go to school. Not stop along the way and let me know that you got there okay. So, my son, the saga does not end there. He gets in trouble again and loses all his social media privileges. And I'm like, okay, you got to delete your Facebook, and you got to delete this one, and no more of that. 2 days later, I get online and I Google myself, and there's a comment made on Facebook from my son's profile that he should have deleted. So I walk back in the bedroom, I'm like, look, bro, Negro, you have 10 minutes to write down every single thing that you've done crazy on the internet. And if it doesn't match what I already know, then your week is gonna get really, really, really poopy. He was like, dude, he gave me a page worth of stuff that he'd been doing on the net. Now, just so you guys think, like, well, how would Dad find this stuff out? Browser history doesn't ever get deleted from your computer. Did you know that? There's plenty of ways to retrieve it. I got a piece of software from one of the investigators at my office that they used to do forensic imaging of hard drives. And basically, this program, you stick it on the thumb drive. Once you plug it into your computer, it automatically reads all of the drives on your computer and then shows you the browser history for the entire life of your hard drive. So everything, and images. So everything that has ever been seen on the internet by my computer, I can read whenever I want. So that makes it problematic for my son to be like, maybe I'll go to a porn site today. No, probably not. No, bad idea. So I take a look at the stuff that he's been doing. He has three email accounts that he's been using to look at porn sites. And then he had 2 Facebook profiles, one of them fake, and there was another social media thing that he'd done. And I looked through the list of websites that he'd gone to, and like, the last one, there was like kind of a maybe by it, and I was like, what does that mean? He's like, well, I stopped going to it because all I had was pictures of guys masturbating. I was like, yeah, good call there, bro. Right on. But that's what happens when my son got turned loose on the anarchy of the internet. That doesn't happen in my house anymore. I go through his emails. The one he's been using the most, he's actually been corresponding with somebody. It's the stupid things that only you and me remember, baby. So he's been talking to this person on the net, right? And she's like, oh, I'm from Northern Europe, and I like to talk to Americans, and Americans are such wonderful people. And he's like, yeah, girl, I'm an American. You can talk to me. And then the next one, she's like, oh, you sound like a very nice person, and I love American culture and American music, and I really want to meet somebody in America. And my 13-year-old, in his like hormone-addled brain, actually thinks that a grown woman is interested in talking to him, and he's like, yeah, girl, I like American music. You can talk to me about that. She's like, oh, you sound like you're such a nice person, and you're so cute. I'm a beautiful person. I like to meet beautiful people. I will send you pictures of me. And he was like, yeah, girl, send me some pictures, because I'm beautiful too. The things that only you and me remember, baby. It's the stupid thing. Remember the stupid part. Homeboy didn't even know that he'd been sent pictures of 3 different women. He was like, yeah, girl. I'm like, oh my goodness, is this really my kid? But those stats are old, okay? Those are old news from like 2009. But the problem is that they're still relevant. Now here's where it gets a little bit wonky. Everybody has a video camera and a still camera at their disposal. Everybody can instantly send a message to somebody. So why does this go all haywire? It's because nobody ever did a class on how to behave on the internet. Like, if you want to drive a car and you want to get a license, you have to take a test, right? Because you're going to drive 2,000 pounds of steel and rubber with a combustible fuel in it. You're going to drive that down the road around a bunch of other vehicles. But nobody says, hey, son, I'm going to give you a smartphone which you can access the entire internet, and I'm going to give you a class on how to use this correctly. No, it doesn't happen like that. And why is this important? Well, APS just lost their superintendent because he did what? 1 tweet. He didn't like send naked pictures of himself and then get on there and threaten to murder Obama or anything like that. He sent 1 tweet about a cabinet member. And APS decided that him saying oink oink in a tweet was enough to fire him for. That's a 6-figure job, y'all. He doesn't have that income anymore over 1 tweet. So that ought to tell you how your world's changed. Okay, so one thing that adults do really stupid online is take pictures of themselves getting drunk and partying. Did you know that the majority of people that hire you now, recruiters, they look at your social media profile as soon as you've applied for the job? My boss just told me point blank that the reason that he was okay with even interviewing me was because she got on Facebook and looked at my profile. And I guess I didn't have nothing crazy up there. But that's how the world's changed. Now, you guys, we're here because there's been this really bad trend.
Once those pictures are on the internet, they'll never be off of the internet. Unfortunately, the American government just does not have the resources or the power, or, we can't do it. We can arrest as many of these guys as possible, but once those pictures of you are on the internet, they're never going to go away. And I've talked a lot about, pictures being sent to creepy dudes who are trying to trick kids, and they're out there all over the place. But these pictures get out there just as frequently from kids who send their pictures to other kids. All right? And it's common enough that I would guess in every middle school that we go to, there's probably someone who has sent a naked picture of themselves to somebody else, probably within their own school. And they probably, and believe me, we talk to plenty of kids who have dealt with this exact same thing, and it's always, after we find the picture on some, dude's computer, who knows where, in Sweden, in Florida, in, Japan, wherever, and then we go and talk to the girl, and just as many, I say girl, but just as often boy, and we go and talk to the girl or boy, and they say, wait, what? I only sent that to my boyfriend. Let me tell you, girls, if you send a naked picture to your boyfriend, it's not staying with your boyfriend. It's not once, not ever happened. I don't care what your boyfriend says. I don't care if he tells you he's not going to show it to somebody else. I don't care if he pinky swears you that he's not going to show it to somebody else. I don't know. He's going to show it to somebody else. I can guarantee it. And he's probably going to put it somewhere else on the internet, and some creepy dude is probably going to get a hold of it, and then it's going to be everywhere, and there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, go for it.
So I used to do this presentation. It was just me and another lady, Doris, from the Attorney General's office that would go out and do it. But we ran into this problem. Y'all don't think we're serious. And so we teamed up with Homeland Security, and Cleveland Middle School still didn't think we're serious. So since nobody ever thinks we're serious, let me just read to you something that is in the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation's annual report. Now, this is the most interesting annual report in the whole world because it has articles like a case of sextortions, cons like the Bieber ruse to target minor girls. The case of Christopher Patrick Gunn, 31 of Montgomery, Alabama, who was sentenced last month to 35 years in prison for producing child pornography through a massive online sextortion scheme, provides a glimpse of how modern-day confidence men are plying their trade against the most vulnerable and unsuspecting victims. One wrenching case revealed through transcripts read at Gunn's sentencing hearing in January. A 13-year-old victim pleaded that she did not want to take her shirt off in front of a webcam. She told Gunn she had a life, please do not ruin it, before ultimately relenting to his demands. To gain the girl's trust, Gunn primarily used two ruses. The new kid ruse. Gunn created a fake profile on Facebook and claimed in a message to minors that he was a new kid in town looking to make friends. Once he established a level of trust, he began making demands. The Justin Bieber ruse. This is my favorite one because Justin Bieber sucks. Wait. Stop clapping. I have to continue scaring you because you guys are going to clap, but then I'm pretty sure a few of you guys are going to go and make the same mistake. In the Justin Bieber ruse, Gunn pretended to be a teen pop star on several interactive video chat services. When Gunn convinced girls that he was the singer, he offered them free concert tickets or backstage passes in exchange for topless photos or webcam videos. Let's get something straight right here. Ain't nobody gonna offer you a free concert ticket if you show them your boobs. It does not work like that, especially online, especially if you're a 13-year-old girl. Second, I'm gonna reiterate the thing about sending nude pictures of yourself to your boyfriend. Y'all know that like normal boy behavior is to show whatever I just found. 2-year-old baby boys are like, look, mom, I found a dead frog. And mom's like, put that thing away. That just persists through the rest of their life. Boys are going to show the pictures that you sent to their friends. Now, first off, let's talk about how pervasive this problem actually is. Okay? Oh, wow, there's like we'll put them together. That'll be good. Okay. So my son goes to like a predominantly white charter school with a bunch of like, kids that have heavy parent involvement. Okay? This is like the nerdiest school that I've ever encountered. Kids are like all happy, whoa, we go to Cottonwood Classical, woo! I'm like, all right, whatever, that's cool. I'll just go to parent-teacher night. So he comes into I go to his room actually and take him my phone because he can't text except for with my phone because he ain't got a phone, remember? So I get to text, oh, Kieran, you gotta call me right now. So I go in his room, here, you gotta call your friend right now. He comes running back into my room 20 minutes later, he's like, dude, I gotta talk to you. Turns out his friend had texted him and she was like, yo, man, apparently a bunch of dudes are getting suspended right now because there's a sexting ring at the school. And we know that your dad does that presentation about it for the Attorney General's office, and we think you told on us. And he's like, I wouldn't be able to do that because I ain't got no phone. And I don't send naked pictures of myself, so that's all you. And she's like, oh, okay. Well, I was all worried because I sent some naked pictures to my boyfriend and I don't want him to get charged as a sex offender. 10 boys and 15 girls in this sexting ring at like a nerdy school. So what does that tell people like me and Eric? That this stuff goes on everywhere. What we'd really like to emphasize, number one to you young ladies, is that first off, you need to check your personal worth. All right? The reason that somebody would convince themselves to send a naked picture of themselves to another youngster, I'm going to put on, your self-esteem is somewhere down there if you think that you have to send a naked picture of yourself to get somebody to like you. Young ladies, you really need to check your self-worth. You have an entire life after middle school. You're not going to be 13 forever. You're going to be 13 for 1 year. Okay? In case y'all have forgotten about that part. But this is where the cyberbullying part comes in. When you young ladies take naked pictures of yourself, or you boys, and you send them to people, especially if they're people that don't really like you yet, you're opening yourself up to this kind of action. Now, cyberbullying in and of itself is easy to do, and that's why it's so pervasive. You can see proof of this in just reading YouTube comments on popular videos. In fact, the comments have been, like some companies have purposely disabled the comments on their videos because people are so mean online. You guys, anybody remember the Cheerios commercial that came out within the last year of the little half-black girl, and she's talking to her mom, and then she goes into her black dad? The comments on that video got disabled by Cheerios because of so many racist remarks that were made about it. Here in New Mexico, that's not really a big problem because it's like big old melting pot. But out there on the internet, people can just say whatever they want. Because why? Nobody's sitting in front of the computer with you. You're anonymous, and you don't have to be tough, and you don't have to be able to back up your words with your muscle. So all kinds of people can get online and say whatever they want. And that's why it works at schools, because everybody can jump in on the commenting, and everybody can have the picture shared with them as well. That's why we're here. It's not just to tell you guys don't cyberbully. That's like telling you guys be good citizens. Because that's really what it comes down to, isn't it? You have a normal life that you have in this skin, and then you have digital citizenship, which is what happens online. The problem nowadays is that a lot of people think that they can be two different people out there. All I can encourage you guys to do is continually be good people and do not participate in something like cyberbullying. Because aside from being a mean person, you're putting yourself out there to possibly end up in court. Because why? If you're cyberbullied, how do you get the evidence? You take a screenshot. And the screenshot will have whoever was bullying you, their screen name, possibly their picture. And then, just because you wanted to get online and tell somebody, yo man, the next time you show up at school wearing that stupid shirt, I'm a bleep, 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 bleep. Or you want to get on some girl's profile and be like, yo, I saw those pictures and you a hoe anyway, bleep, 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 bleep. Yeah, well when that screenshot pops up at school and the principal comes to you and says, is this what you were participating in? You're the one getting suspended.
Yeah, so there are two really good reasons not to participate in cyberbullying, other than if you do, you're a bad person. Because if you do, you're a bad person. I mean, it doesn't change if you're online. I mean, if you're a bad person online, you're a bad person in real life too. But there are two really good reasons. One is it's now against the law. The federal government and almost every state in the United States have passed laws against cyberbullying. And two, because of the repercussions. All right, it's not just making kids feel bad anymore. It's making kids feel bad to the point where they're killing themselves. All right, and this is, again, things on the internet being taken to the extreme, and something that maybe, you know, your parents' generation didn't have to deal with when they were kids, but today, kids are solving their problems by killing themselves. And we're going to talk, you know, Zach actually knows the stories of all of these kids, and he'll tell them really quick, but you need to understand that these kids were cyberbullied, they killed themselves, and I can guarantee you that the people who were cyberbullying them didn't mean for them to kill themselves. A few of them were actually told by the people that they were being bullied by to go and kill yourself. Now, do you think that person actually wanted them to go and kill themselves? Probably not, but they did. All right? And those people opened themselves up, one, to going to jail, but two, you have to deal with the rest of your life. You caused someone to kill yourself. Yeah, so Zach will maybe tell some of these kids' stories.
Yeah. Okay, so does anybody recognize Carlos V. Hill? All right, y'all know he tweeted his suicide note, right? Can you imagine getting a tweet that's a suicide note from your kid? So I'm a dad. I got, you know, like I said, I have a 15-year-old, and I have a 10-year-old daughter. And even just now talking about this and thinking about possibly getting a suicide note tweeted to me, that's crushing. But that happened to his parents. My wife works for Warehouse 508, where Carlos actually participated in their youth leadership program. And initially, when Carlos's death got out into the media, they didn't say anything about cyberbullying. And so we didn't put it into our presentation. But Doris, who used to do this presentation with me, was like, no, watch. There's going to be something. And when my wife talked to his mom, the majority of the bullying had been done online. So let's talk about differences real quick. So I was a black kid that went to a predominantly white high school. And back in my day, we didn't have the internet, because Tyrannosaurus Rex still roamed the earth. But bullying in my day was like, you would come to my face and be like, you know what? Your team sucks and you smell bad. And then I'd be like, well, I guess I'm going to have to meet you out back to school at 3:30, huh? We going to do it then. That's how it went down. But the problem with bullying now is that you can say all these things and never have to confront the person to their face and laugh it off as I was being funny. Now let's talk about why this is pervasive real quick. Who here likes watching fail videos? Everybody likes watching fail videos. If we didn't, then they wouldn't be so popular. But 10 years ago, or actually more like 20 years ago, when I actually bothered watching TV, comedy was different. It was situational comedy. We'd laugh at situations, Nowadays, you laugh at people's pain. My son and his friends had like this saying in Scouts where it's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt, and then it's hilarious. Because we think it's funny when somebody falls down and breaks their arm. We think it's funny when somebody goes to jump off a roof and instead misses the house, because that's funny. But it's actually not. It's somebody in pain, and you're laughing at it. But this is what makes this kind of behavior pervasive. Empathy is our ability to feel for somebody else, to imagine their pain and feel sorry for them. The level of empathy in kids nowadays has gone way, way, way down. And then you add that with the amount of sex and violence that's in movies now and accepted in everyday behavior, and you have this way of thinking to where you don't really stop and care first about the person that you might be hurting. And people, we need to understand, we need to deeply understand that when we make people feel bad repeatedly, your generation does that. Amanda Todd, a lot of people know about her. She flashed a webcam one time, and then she was sextorted and bullied online for another 2 years before she killed herself. Audrey Potts got drunk at a party, had sex with a couple football players. They took pictures of it, spread them around at school. When she got there on Monday, she was hoe, slut, skank. Was she sleeping around? No, she got drunk at a party and made a mistake. But then everybody took pictures of that mistake and sent it up to the internet where it's going to live forever. She killed herself. Braylee Rice was told repeatedly by 2 girls at her school that she needed to go die. You haven't killed yourself yet? Why don't you just go jump off a tower or something? And so she did. Felicia Garcia got drunk at a party, had sex with somebody. They took pictures of it. The pictures got around school. For the next few weeks, she was bullied incessantly. Let's get something straight, though. These girls are being called names about their perceived sexual behavior. They made a mistake and somebody took pictures, and then they were bullied incessantly because of the perception of what they were. Were these girls sluts or skanks or hoes? No. They made a mistake. They got drunk at a party and somebody took pictures of them, and then it cost them their life because your generation, this is something for you guys to internalize, because your generation thinks it's funny to laugh at people's pain. And that actually is what needs to stop. There's no silver bullet about bullying and cyberbullying. All of a sudden nowadays we're like, oh, bullying and cyberbullying are so important. I'm like, no, it's actually being good and bad people that's important. And that's what needs to be addressed. Bullying is differences in personalities being manifested in all the wrong ways. Yes, you have to be empowered to bully somebody, but the reason that it works in your schools is because everybody gets in on it.
All right, so I think we're probably running out of time here. We're past it now. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and tell one more story about bullying, kind of about the flip side of bullying. I was a teacher for 6 years before I became a special agent in Michigan. I was a teacher just outside of Detroit, and I had one student in my 6 years of teaching that killed themselves. He walked in front of a semi-truck one day while he was drunk, and he was not being bullied, but he was a bully. And it's sad to say because he's dead, but he wasn't the nicest kid. And, he didn't really realize it until after, but he bullied people, and this is the reason that people bully people. He bullied people because he didn't like himself, and he was trying to make himself feel better. And that's what bullies do, and that's why, and that's what you need to understand. If you're being bullied, the person who's bullying you is trying to make you as sad as they are. Unfortunately, people didn't realize, Don was his name, people didn't realize until after he was dead how sad he was, and people didn't realize that he was a mean kid because he was so sad. But yeah, I mean, just know that if you're the kid being bullied, you're not the sad one in that situation. You just have someone trying to make you as sad as they are. And I think that's about it for us today. If you guys have any questions, we'll be hanging out down here for a little while. If you got anything to come and talk to us about, we'll be down here for a little while, and we'll wrap this up and bring it back to your principal right now.